Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Faustino. Today is Monday. I have an in-depth whiskey review for you. Today, we're taking a look at the 13th Colony. This is the cask strength rye. Just like always, we're going to pour it, nose it, taste it. I'm going to talk about it just very little, and then I'm going to add water to this. And then if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to give this a score. Now, before I get into the review, I need to talk a little bit about Stuff and Whiskey. They have a charity event coming up in October. It's a charity called To Write Love on Her Arms. I've donated 10 bottles for the charity giveaway this year. If you are interested in supporting their channel, and if you're interested in winning some of the bottles that are being donated, I'm going to leave a link to their channel in the description below. If you are interested in giving them a bottle for the charity, they're always looking for bottle donations. This is one of the bottles. It's an unopened one, but I'm donating one of these along with 9 other bottles that I've picked up throughout the year. So if you're interested in supporting a charity that is dealing with combating the effects of mental health, go over to their channel, shoot them an email, and maybe watch a couple of their videos, and they're going to describe or talk a little bit more about their giveaway. So what do we have today? Well, it is a cask strength rye coming out of Americus, Georgia, which is a 13th Colony. I do believe this is an 80-barrel batch, and it's the first year that they released their cask strength version. And I believe this is now going to be paired up year to year with their cask strength bourbon release as well. It's a mash bill of 95.5, so 95% rye, 5% malted barley. It is sourced from Indiana, and if I'm not mistaken, this is finished with French oak spirals. And when I get into talking about this, I'm going to bring that up in a little bit. It's a 750 milliliter bottle, and I ended up paying $98.99 for this. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the nose. To me, it comes across as a typical rye, as if you were walking into a forest and the pine trees that are there are very vibrant. So I do get pine. There is a very slight amount of herbal notes as well. I know pine can be a little bit spearminty or dilly. I'm not getting any of those notes. And there is a Red Jolly Rancher sweetness that comes through on the nose as well. Smells absolutely fantastic. And you can't really beat the color. I mean, it's really dark. I think the majority of their stuff that's coming out of Americus, Georgia is pretty dark. I did a review of their 2025 cask strength bourbon. So if you're interested in that, just go ahead and search my channel for that, or just look through the back catalog. And I guess it's worth mentioning, if you're also interested in possibly winning a 2-ounce sample of this, I have an ongoing monthly giveaway happening. So this month of September, if you donate $5 to the channel, you get 1 entry into it. I'm not going to get into it. If you're interested in supporting the channel, all of the rules to the giveaway are in the description below. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, just as I remember, this is a spicy bugger right up front. There is a tremendous amount of sweetness as well. Those typical rye notes that I'm getting with the pine forest is definitely coming through on the palate. The Red Jolly Rancher, there is a cherry note coming through, so there's a tremendous amount of sweetness along with those typical rye notes. And the spices that I'm getting here could possibly be a combination of the typical rye spice along with a proof, or that alcohol ethanol punch, which is adding to the level of spice that I'm getting. Peppery, ginger, all around. I believe this is a very well-balanced pour. Obviously, that was my first sip. I don't think this is earth-shattering. It's not really developing into much of anything other than the rye spice, the Red Jolly Rancher, a little bit of the pine notes, and just overall, it's well balanced. Let me get a second sip in. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this and then talk a little bit about 13th Colony and this bottle specifically. So, second sip, everybody. On that second sip, the spice did calm down just a little bit, but it hit the front of the palate like a bunch of Pop Rocks. It hit the mid palate, sunk in, just like most bourbons that I drink, or most ryes that I drink, or most whiskeys that I drink. There is a tannin, an oak tannin bitterness that sinks in underneath the tongue. It's absolutely fantastic. And by the time it hits the back of the palate, Everything about this shines. That finish is nice and long. A red cherry note, that red Jolly Rancher note is coming through. The pine notes are there, but they're not overpowering. And throw in a little bit of earthy herbal notes as well, and you've got a pretty darn good, well-balanced rye. I really enjoy this quite a bit. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of water to this, and I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things with this bottle, and I'm going to need help from the viewers because I never claim to be a professional here or the best person for information, but I need some help on this. This is a batch product, and it looks like from the research that I did, there's 80 barrels within this batch. And because this is finished in French oak spirals, here's where my question is. They take those 80 barrels and dump it into maybe a tank of some sort, and do they put the spirals, the French spirals, in that and let it finish? Or do they take select barrels of that 80 and put spirals in that? Do they put the spirals in every single barrel? To me, it would make sense that if they have 80 barrels and they dump it and they just have it in this holding vat, I would think that they would put the French oak spirals, is that what it is? The French oak spirals into that holding vat. That would make sense to me. I'm not a whiskey maker in any way, so if you know any of those details, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know in the comments down below if you're a fan of 13th Colony as a distillery itself. It's a relatively new distillery. I think it was founded in 2009. If that information is wrong, please, correct me nicely in the comments down below. And along with them distilling the vodka and the gin, I do believe they contract distill. And I don't know if they only contract distill through Indiana, because I know on this bottle it says distilled in Indiana. I don't know if they go to other sources to actually get distillate. All right, hopefully that is enough time for this water to do its thing. My guess is the water is going to cause this to be more spice forward than without. So it's going to be interesting to see just how spicy it actually gets. On the nose, there's a tremendous amount of vanilla now jumping out of the glass. The typical rye notes of a pine forest and a little bit of that herbal note has definitely calmed down, and it's more dominant with vanilla. Yeah, other than that, still stinging the nose a little bit because of 120. What did I say? Did I even mention the proof on this? 120.7 proof, so 60.35% ABV. And this is the first batch of the rye that they're releasing, the cask strength rye. I know in the past they've released single barrel ryes that are at cask strength, but I think this is now the first batch product that they're releasing mass market to the public that is not a pick and will be annual releases going forward. At least that's as far as I understand. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate with the water. Cheers, everybody. All right, that little bit of water actually calmed it down, and it opened up a little bit more of a floral note, and I like that. The pine note has now re-emerged. It wasn't there on the nose, but it's definitely there on the palate. It's floral, it's herbal, it's vanilla. The cherry note is there, that cherry Jolly Rancher or the red Jolly Rancher. Yeah, I think this is not diminished in any way by adding water to it. It does take a little bit of that spicy edge off by putting a little bit of water in there, which is weird. I thought that would actually amplify the spice, but it hasn't. It opened it up. It's floral. There is a little bit of spice, vanilla, red Jolly Rancher, pine, earthy notes, herbal. This is good. This is good with water, and it's good without water. I guess the only thing left to do is give this thing a score. If you're new here, I rate everything out of 5 stars. Because this is such a versatile glass, and this is just thick, the viscous, I mean, it's just sticking to the side of the glass. The experience with and without water just kind of elevates it a little bit more. It's not just a one-trick kind of pour. I'm sure this would also hold up really well and be fantastic in some cocktails. So based on the flavor notes, based on the spice, the good balance of the sweet and spice, I'm going to give this a 3.95. I really enjoy this quite a bit. And it's definitely going to be going into my rye whiskeys of the year. I like it that much. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Before I leave, again, please take a look at Stuff and Whiskey if you're interested in supporting their charity to write love on our arms. Contribute to the channel if you feel like you want to support my channel. All of the rules to the giveaway are in the description below. And with that, wherever you were at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. And we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.